So you're trying to build $1 million brand in 2025 and you don't know where to begin. It's super competitive, and figuring out kind of your wedge into the market and what niche you should really focus on to create your foothold is something that's really hard to do. And a lot of companies struggle with this. So today I'm having on my friend Jordan Mix. He's one of the partners at this company called Late Checkout. They do a lot of brand and product development for huge Fortune 500 companies. And we're going to talk through this idea of digital gravity and how to build digital mass on the internet so that you can grow way faster from a brand influence standpoint. Core concept is that the marketing funnel is this linear thing that isn't actually real, and how people actually buy as they get in rotation around a company and then they make a purchasing decision. We're going to also talk about AI agents versus automation, kind of the big differences there, specifically leaning on the agent to do some thinking within that workflow automation that you've already created. And then relate these two together by talking about brand versus marketing arbitrage, basically transactional marketing that you have to do to get your first revenue to come in, and then the long-term investments that you need to create so that your brand grows over time, which reduces your customer acquisition costs because you get more word of mouth to occur. If you're a startup and you're trying to figure out how do I create initial traction for my company, this episode is for you. And also, if you're a startup, you should check out Habit SEO. Habit SEO specializes in SaaS SEO. They find bottom of funnel keywords related to your brand, do all that keyword research, write the articles, publish them and optimize them so that they create signups organically for your company. Go to habitseo.com to learn more or click the link in the description. And let's get started with today's show. Okay, dog. Jordan, what's good?
What's up, bro? It's been too long.
Dude, it's been way too long. That episode that we did forever ago, I still get reached out about that. They're like, this literally changed everything about my positioning in my company. I just like tried to blatantly state the outcome that you're gonna get when you buy from us now. And there's that. So, anyways, I think
That was fun.
we're stoked on it. And it's like one of the highest consumed, all the way through episodes. It's interesting.
I love it, dude. That's amazing. That's amazing to hear. It's funny because after we got off that recording, we were like, was that even valuable? Like we were just like
Totally.
changing headlines on stuff. Like felt like an idiot. It's like when you
No.
spell a word a
Yeah.
lot, it starts
Yeah.
looking wrong. That's how I felt after the episode. But yeah, I've gotten a lot
Totally,
of
man.
love from it too.
Totally. So, anyway, topic today, we got a bunch of random stuff on the agenda, but I think we kind of wanted to start with this idea of like digital gravity and like the AI, the age of AI agents. Everybody's talking about vibe marketing. Nobody's actually doing it. There's like, I've talked to probably 100 people at this point, and like I've seen like 3 use cases where I was like, oh, this is kind of something that's actually automating a job role, and like to me, that's what this is. But I think I'd love to cross that through line. I know you had some questions about like AI SEO and that type of stuff, so maybe we start there, and I can share the data we're seeing. But
Yeah, I think there's something interesting going on right now in the whole vibe marketing world, just vibe operating businesses at large, whether it's vibe coding, vibe marketing, it's really all the same, right? Like it's using expertise, like domain knowledge to go faster and be more powerful with these niche nuances. So like the generalist is actually getting more powerful and the practitioner is actually getting more powerful.
yeah,
Where
they're
it's like
becoming superhuman. Like the generalists now can like get a company, to what a 10-person company was, I think, and like that expert that has all of that domain knowledge, like if you're a cracked engineer, right, and you're using this this tooling, right, like combining Lovable with like Cursor, like you can spin out a product in a day and a half, right? That used to take you whatever 3 weeks of you being heads down. So
it's
uh,
crazy. And yeah, or just like sketching stuff and sending it to a designer to then level it up that can then get sent to a developer. It's like I don't
totally,
even go to Figma anymore. If I have a
totally,
product idea or just a dashboard idea, I'm
yeah,
going to Bolt or Replit to just like mock up an interface. The backend's trash. Like it doesn't work. I shouldn't deploy it. It's deployed to like Jordan at Replit spaghettios whatever .com, and it doesn't matter because then the developer can take it and that product requirement is so much, they can see the vision so much more and then just start from that ground level. And I think the planning and iteration phase is just so different, and that spans from product development but also the operating and vibe marketing of stuff. So
totally.
every process, I think, You need to operate it before you can automate it. And we
100%.
get so many questions all the time about like, where should I start with vibe marketing? I'm trying to be an N8N expert. I'm trying to be a Gumlib expert. And I was like, you don't need to be like, is there a course I can take? And I'm just like, no. The course is what do you want? What do you do a lot? And try to do it.
Yeah, how do you
Automate it.
automate it? What I've been doing, I don't know, I just found this out like 2 weeks ago, but you can basically have, Perplexity write JSON files, for N8N, so it'll automatically build out the workflows for you.
Oh,
So
sick.
N8N is all JSON based. And so basically I can go into Perplexity and I can be like, yo, I'm trying like describe the thing you're trying to automate, right? Like for example, I'm trying to connect to this Appify YouTube channel email scraper. And I want to give it a list of keywords. I want it to go scrape all the emails from this YouTube channels. I then want you to send it to Million Verifier to validate those emails. And then I want you to send it to Instantly. And then, you have an Instantly campaign set up. So all of that research, the validation, and then the cold email sending, gets automated with that. Describe that to Perplexity. Tell it to write a JSON file structure that's built for N8N. It writes the JSON. You copy and paste the JSON over, and you have the workflow basically built out within N8N. You don't have to do any of
Wow.
the connectivity stuff. And it's like, again,
That's a
super
hack.
early. It's not perfect all the time, but
Yeah.
it's like this is the things that like we're thinking about of like, okay, well, how do you how do you show your entire team how to do that basically and then give them those resources to be able to accomplish it? Or if you're just a single person, right? Like it's like I can go and spin up 20 different agents that are doing these activities that normally I'd have to have a human for or I would be doing personally. So
That's such a hack. And I'm in this stuff all the time, like immersed in it. And I think the thing, if I'm listening to this as an audience member and I haven't ever done anything like this, just hearing you talk about that, I'm not trying to do that workflow at all. But you just gave me like 10 light bulb moments that I can go and just use in my processes that I'm trying to figure out, whether that's like creating thumbnails or,
totally.
just different things. It's like, okay, cool. That nugget that I took away, I don't give a rat about Appify or Millionaire Verifier or Instantly, whatever you said, because I'm not trying to do cold email right now. I'll store that away for later. But I think what's interesting there is just listening to you talk. It's like, cool, nugget, perplexity.
Yep.
Now I've got my little, like, new experiment that I can go test and run and take that to my N8N workflow and not build anything that you built. So just consuming stuff around the space and having light bulb moments is super impactful if you're just starting out.
Totally. I think another thing I saw recently that again is super valuable if you're trying to figure out like what does this new world of marketing look like is using N8N as the back end. And then the front end is basically created by Lovable. So you're describing what you're trying to like do, and then like the action or whatever. That functionality is basically an N8N backend. So that JSON thing I just described, you're like building out this flow, but then you're connecting the data back into Lovable so that you can then see that, right? So it's like cool. Like I'm building basically like using Lovable almost as like a dashboard visualization tool. And then N8N is that back end. So I don't have to like wire anything up or, think about it in that way. It's just, hey, here's this N8N, HTTP, REST API connection point. Like I want you to pull that data from there, or send that data here. And then once that data gets pulled back, from whatever the Appify API, the Rapid AI, API.com endpoint, put that back into Lovable. And so it's like this came from another marketer, and she was basically like, "Hey, like I'm using basically this vibe coding as a way to automate my job as like a head of growth within the company that I'm at." Right. And it's like rather than going and hiring like a VA to go, what she was doing was basically having it go screenshot all of their competitors' ads daily and then be like, what are the new ads here? What are the things that they're trying that we're not, et cetera. And then she built out a dashboard for that to see all the insights in a single place and like run this operation. So I think it's like it's basically internal tooling that actually like a marketer would actually want to use, right? Like I don't want to touch retool. I don't want to touch Metabase, any of this, right? It's a way for me to do that. So, anyways, I'm just curious if there's
Yeah,
anything that you guys have seen, in the market or
it's
like
all
in this whole space.
It's a whole new world out there. I think you you came up with this concept of digital gravity a long time ago. Like, maybe literally a year ago. I think you were, like, texting me, like, "I'm gonna write a book on digital gravity." I was like, "That's cute. That's cool. What does that mean?" And even at the time, I didn't know what it meant. But then in January, we kicked it again, and ever since that time I made this little graphic I'm gonna share.
Yeah,
Ever
please.
ever since that time, can you see this?
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
Ever since we, like, jammed for the second time on digital gravity, it made so much sense to where no one buys in a linear fashion like a funnel. So, everyone's trying to build this funnel, but really people should be building orbits, and you really came up with this concept of digital gravity and having orbits, and as you create more assets, which is like orbit rings, your planet and your mass gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is how people buy. They see an ad and they orbit your space. They see a video and they enter a new orbit. They see a newsletter. Oh, yeah, I'm in this orbit. And all that time, you're attracting more people into orbit because your mass is getting bigger. Where I think a
100%.
lot of people focus on these funnels and it's so linearly, like they enter the top, we nurture them, they buy, we upsell them, and that's just not the nature. You know, it goes back to the law of 7, that old marketing that framework where you need to see a brand 7 times before you make a buying decision. It's probably even like more now because you're
100%.
getting retargeted probably like 20 times before you make a purchase, but you just get sticky in that consumer's brain as when I'm ready to purchase, I'm going to X because I saw that thing and that they own that like digital real estate in my brain
100%.
that I'm gonna go and buy from this. So anyway, I just love this graphic so much, and I think it parlays nicely into the modern day of marketing is it used to be SEO and it used to be doing all these things to get
Like, just paid
discovered.
ads, totally.
Paid ads, but now we layer in LLMs. So I'm really curious how you are thinking about this as how LLMs enter this as recommendation engines. What does AI SEO mean? It feels like dark magic to me. Like all these like AI SEO agencies, I'm pretty sure they're just prompting
Dude, they're
like
so full of shit.
just
I'm just like
prompting ChatGPT with like, uh, does late checkout come up for this? You know,
Yeah,
like,
no. So that's
um,
literally how it's funny, I'm talking to James, who's the co-founder of Profound, like, like, immediately after this call, right? So, like, that's, like,
okay,
the next episode I'm recording, and so I talked to him previously, and the data that he shared is, like, 95% of the searches that are happening on these AI answer engines are, doing web scraping, and if you look at the data of the web scraping that's occurring, like ChatGPT, where is it going? Like, it is scraping Google and returning the results like an aggregate of the results of page 1 and page 2, right? And
yeah,
Google AI overview is the exact same thing. Perplexity is the exact same thing. I think that the bigger idea here and like how to zoom out. So like two things I want to talk about. So like when you think about a funnel, right? Like and funnels work. Like companies, I'm not saying a funnel doesn't work, but only creates linear growth, right? Like I put a dollar in and X comes out. Um, and you can play that game and have a really successful business, right? Like I know people that do this where it's like, cool, we know that every $10 that we spend, like that's going to turn into, whatever, $50 of customer lifetime value. And so they're just like playing that game. But when you are trying to build something that has a non-linear growth structure, right? So it's like exponential. The only way to do that is you have to invest in branded search and like owning, building that gravity, right? Like that's how you can create how I think about it is when you start a company, like typically what you're doing is you're looking for like some type of arbitrage in the beginning that has like a direct, I call it transactional marketing. So like tomorrow it makes revenue, right? So it's paid ads, cold email, cold DMs. Those are typically like the three. And sometimes influencer marketing, it depends on the category. What I mean by that is like I do an action and then tomorrow I get, paid basically, right? So it's like I turn on Facebook ads or Google ads and I know that like tomorrow I'm going to get revenue. A lot of, and I tell startups this all the time. I'm like, yo, like, why are you investing in SEO? Like, you don't even know if you're going to be here in 2 years. You raise a pre-seed, like you don't even know you're going to exist. Like this thing isn't going to pay off for 18 months. So why are you investing in this, right? Um, and so, with that in mind, I think the thing to think about, like in relationship to like this digital gravity idea, is what you're trying to do is the law of shitty click-throughs is this idea that when you find that arbitrage, right, like cold email or like paid ads, um, other people are going to identify that same arbitrage. That arbitrage is going to go away. So the cost per user acquisition is going to increase over time naturally for all of that transactional marketing. So the way to combat that is you have to create some type of content marketing flywheel or engine so that you basically are getting branded search discovery and like brand discovery to happen. And that basically reduces the cost of your customer acquisition as the law of shitty click through starts to happen.
Right,
And
right,
so
right.
this is this like, strategy to basically mitigate the risk of the cost of getting a new customer going up, right? Which is
Yeah,
like
it's like
normal for
as
it.
arbitrage goes down,
Yes.
the brand goes up. It's like a
Yeah.
seesaw.
And I can give you a concrete example of this. Like we had this company, like we were getting dollar signups, and 12 months later, that same signup was costing us $5, right? So the cost per signup 5x, right? And so you have to think like that. That's a perfect example of this, playing out. So what do you have to do? Then it's like you go to influencer marketing so that you're basically creating more top of funnel inbound, and then there's this discovery flywheel that's happening because like one creator makes a video and then two others make a video because they saw that video went viral, etc. And that all ties into this like digital gravity idea where it's like all you're trying to do is make as much mass on the internet related to your brand in the niche that you are as possible so that when somebody goes and they're starting their discovery part of their product discovery journey, they you have the most surface area as you possibly can so that you show up within that those results. And that's all this AI SEO like stuff is, right? It's basically, and I mean, this is like what we're seeing in our data, what we're telling the companies that we're working with, what we're doing with our own companies is basically like say for example, you're uh, a landing page building software or a funnel building software. Like what you're trying to do is show up for like every keyword related to landing pages or funnel building or Facebook ad, whatever whatever would be used in that flow that your product would fit into. Like, it's a tool within a stack. You're trying to have some type of content across all of the channels, all of the platforms that is related to like every part of that stack that you're a part of, right? So to create definitive examples of this, like what we see for, SEO for like software companies, right? Bottom of funnel keywords are super effective at making signups, right? What are those? It's like X versus Y product, X alternative product, how to X product, best X for Y product. And the reason for that is that like people are in a buyer mindset to like for that sign up, but then you can also include your brand within those articles. It's like, yeah, rippling versus deal, right? But you can be like, cool, we have this tool that integrates with Rippling that helps you automate, your payroll taxes, right? And then if you get that blog post to rank page 1 or page 2, somebody searches, what are the biggest differences between Rippling or Deal, whatever that ends up at, it creates a stronger likelihood that you end up within those AI search results. So to talk about this specifically, like these companies that are coming out, like Profound as an example, like what they're doing, from my understanding, is basically creating synthetic data that they then go and prompt the AI with. So they create like this whole corpus of like questions or topics. It's a lot of just question based is what I'm seeing more than
Yeah.
that's how people are using these AI search tools. More is like rather than keyword focused, it's like question focused, and then they make all these different question variations, and then they show basically like your uh like uh your surface area within the category that you're in, and then
Like a
show you
score,
the
like a
gaps that are
score.
occurring. Yeah,
Yeah, like a
exactly.
score and then
Exactly.
recommended.
And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, you don't show up well for like this subset of of content. And then you
Yeah.
take that insight, you go make content within that category. But where are they getting this from? It's like literally all of them are scraping page 1, page 2 of Google. And like the reason for that is like a couple things. Like first, Google has all of the signal from its 25 years of existence
Yeah.
to know what content is the best content for a specific query, right?
Yeah,
And
AIs are dude, LLMs are lazy.
dude,
Where do you think they're
100%.
gonna go get that thing?
100%.
From the
Also, it's
most
like
valuable resource that exists.
ChatGPT, like OpenAI isn't going to go index the entire web if they can just lean on
No.
Google in the beginning. They might do it in the long term, but like right now they're
And
not, right?
right.
And so it's still the same game. It's just at a scale and a volume that I don't think people are comfortable with. And then like, how do you like, make content that actually sends the right signal to, the algorithms to rank for those target keywords. But the strategy here though is like, cool, like you found this gap. Okay, now I go make content that's related to that gap. That's on the AI SEO side. I think, to get back to this digital gravity idea, like how I think about it is like, where is my target customer spending time online? How
Yeah.
do I make as much mass as possible in that space? So, like, say, like, a lot of the times, tools like a video editor, right? Like an AI video editor. Where do people go to learn about AI video editors? Like, they go to YouTube. So it's like, cool. I need to have a YouTube strategy. How do I go and automate my process as much as I can to make as much content as possible within that category? So I'm making more digital mass, I'm making more surface area for discovery, I'm making more like gravity in that in that channel, which I then know will lead down to my brand. And I'm going to try to do that in all those places that I know people spend time online in relationship to the product. Like LinkedIn for that, that video editor, probably not the place where people go to discover video editing products, right? But maybe they do on Instagram Reels. So it's like, cool. Now I have a strategy. How do I go? How do I go and make a strategy or and define the tactics that I'm going to do to create the content at scale on those places? So
Yeah, and
anyway,
if I'm the CMO or whatever growth person for this AI editing tool, call it Cursor for Video.
yeah,
All the rage right now, and no one's doing it, but that to each their own. Definitely not Descript, no shade, but that's not
they're
it.
terrible,
Um,
dude.
I can't use
Also, I
Descript,
use
I feel like an
Riverside. I'm
idiot.
like, God, dude, it is. I wish somebody would just give me a Zoom like extension plugin that recorded in HD and did multi-track. Like, I would pay for that tomorrow. So if you fucking build that, I will go and shill it. This is the call for it right now.
For
But
real.
anyways, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good. If I'm the head of growth at Cursor for Video, and we haven't raised a massive round, and we're not using the VC subsidization, or is that even a word? Subsidized by VC. I am thinking about digital gravity, and I'm thinking about the active version of it, what we can be doing as a company, but I'm also thinking about the passive version where you can basically delegate. As you kind of alluded to before, it's just like, how do you get one creator to make a video that has 100 creators studying them? We see this a lot with Greg and the Startup Ideas podcast is we'll find a tool, he'll do it, and then we'll see 40 videos about the same tool 2 weeks later.
100%.
And it's like we get the credit because all of those people kind of followed us. And the company that we highlighted, just we found them early and thought they had a dope tool and showed it. They're like, this is incredible. And we kind of get the credit for that attribution, but the company's loving it. They didn't do anything other than put a
Totally.
dope product out into the world. And maybe they created their own YouTube video or they hired that first creator to make a feature based YouTube video about how to do X with Y, and your Y is the tool. And
Totally.
and then you just like you're not that creates gravity in and of itself without you having to actively do it. And then while that flywheel's running, you shift and you start with like newsletters or you
I
go
think
paid
this
ad.
idea totally. And I think this idea of like, how do I tap into so like all these creators, they're just chasing the thing that's like most likely to go viral, right? And so if I can create, an outlier video, like every one of them is looking for the outlier videos and they're going to go copy that and like do their own remix of it, right? And so like that is the game you're playing as a founder now is like how do you find that outlier video type of content that then that you can like create on a repeatable process, but then there's going to be this knock-on effect, this cascade that happens after that, like 5 people that saw that video that went viral are going to go make their own versions, right? And it's funny, I have a friend that runs this company. It's like Jungle Scout, but for Etsy. And
Sick.
entire growth strategy is literally just YouTube. It's and this is what he found was like, oh, I like have these creators, do a video a month. But what naturally, I think he has 100 creators that are on his is in his affiliate program now.
Mhm.
But what naturally happens is about 1,000 videos will get posted about the products from that 100, right? And he's like, I couldn't afford that ever. But because you're tapping into this like game of the creator economy, there's a way for you to do that. But not to digress too much into this, I think with a lot of the times it's just like luck too. Like it's like, okay, you get lucky with this product or tool, but how to
Mhm.
turn this actually like into a system and a process is like, again, where's your target customer spending time online? What is the thing that's going to resonate and like be valuable to them in that place? How do you hire people and also like contract out creators to make that content? You can do a combination of both. Like you're seeing this more and more where it's like literally a YouTube YouTuber is like a job title that a company will hire if they identify that YouTube is like a channel for them. Like Vidio did this really effectively early on, and I think you're going to see this more and more where it's like you have these people on staff that are like creator job titles. The challenge with that though is they get popular on top of your tool, and then they go and they like basically bounce out and do their own thing, right? And so, I mean, you own the IP, but it's still people are
People
so
fall in love with
connected
the
to the
face,
information.
right? Yeah, like,
Exactly,
Triple Whale had
exactly.
this happen with Tommy. Do you know Tommy
I
Clark?
don't know Tom. No,
He, like, destroyed for Triple Whale on social in, like, 2020, right when they launched, 2021 maybe,
interesting,
and he had their content strategy. He was just the face. Everyone had the whales everywhere. They were, like, unavoidable. They were
interesting.
killing digital gravity, and then he left to do his own thing, and they never could quite replace him,
Yep.
and it's not that we
Tommy
all
Clark, is
love.
that who it
Yeah,
is?
Tommy Clark, yeah, he's
Interesting. I haven't
great.
met Tommy. I've seen him
Um,
around, but
yeah, he's great. But yeah, there's just something about, like, it's like the HQ trivia guy too. It's like, I don't even know what that guy's name is, but when he, like, left, it
yep,
just disappeared. And it's
totally,
it's not even matter about the guy as much, as it does just the associated face.
100%,
Um, yeah, so
100%.
that, like, Barstool strategy of, like, Call Her Daddy gets so big that then they're, like, negotiating their own Shopify, so you're gonna have to hedge your bets on the
100%.
in-house stuff with all these other strategies. But yeah, going back to the digital gravity, I think each one of those rings is like a mini funnel.
Mhm.
So each ring that you put out, each channel that you put out turns into a mini funnel, and so your orbits kind of become black holes to stay in outer space.
Yeah. I heard
And
somebody describe it as like I'm trying to rabbit hole somebody, so they like discover me in one place, and then they go and consume everything everywhere. And like podcasts are really good for this, right? Like we get this all the time too from like inbound leads from for us where they're like, I just listened to 40 hours of you talking to people about marketing strategy, right? Like we're buyer ready. Like just send us the shit. We're in, right? And I
totally.
think that this is it's a relationship. The other thing with the rings piece, like I think why it symbolizes it well is at different points in time, people are closer to a purchasing decision than other points, right? So like when we think about the solar system, it's like, oh, it's all these circles that are like perfectly circle, like people like these planets rotating around the sun. In reality, that's not the case at all. Like it's actually elliptical, like elliptical shapes of these orbits. And so, like at different times, like different planets are closer to the sun, and it's the same idea here. Like at different times, people are more in that moment buyer ready than they were previously. The problem is you don't know where they are in that journey. It's hard to understand it. You can probably know that they're getting closer, like with the amount of touches that they've had, and you can map this, right? Like you can see this with like probably your segment data or something like that. It just gets expensive. Like there's no cheap way to do this, for startups. But I think that I just want to emphasize that of like at different moments, people are more ready than at other moments to spend money, and so that constant, being in front of them, that's you have to do that so that you catch them at that moment in time.
Yeah, for someone listening to this, they're probably overwhelmed of, like, they're trying to create their digital gravity in every they're trying to have all the rings, they're trying to look like Saturn when there actually should just be Mercury. Um, how should people start? Like,
Yeah,
where should people start this process of digital gravity if they're just starting out?
yeah. I think it's
Leveraging AI to become supercharged, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Totally. I think it's first you find out where your customer's spending time online. Then it's okay. I'm gonna pick. Maybe I test three different channels. Like I find out they're in three places. I test three channels. I see which one of those three are like the most effective. And then I invest everything I can into that one channel that's the most effective, that one or two channels that most effective. And then once I understand what's working there in that process, that's when I come in and I'm like, cool, like I have this process that's defined for Facebook ads that we know that works. I'm going to automate away this entire process with AI, right? Like we're going to go and we're going to find pain points by scraping, Reddit for our product catalog. Like, why do people hate Zendesk, right? We're going to find all the reasons that they hate, their current help desk. We're going to have that be the pain point. And then we're going to go and we're going to make ads at scale, 100 different pieces of ad, static ads using the OpenAI like image API. We make those 100 different pieces of ads. They automatically get added to a campaign. And then we're basically, building an agent that, or, you build an agent that's like, cool, like the bottom 90% of performers turn those ads off. Sweet. Okay. The top ones, they get added to a conversion campaign. And then we start that process over and over again. What do the winners have in common? So understanding what's working, like I can't automate anything if we don't know what the outcome is that we're trying to accomplish, or even that it's going to work, right? Like people, I think, so often start at this they started like, we're going to automate, but they don't have they don't have a goal that they're trying to get to. So it's getting to that goal, doing it manually. It's like it's the same. It's really the same thing that we've always talked about. Like, do things that don't scale,
Exactly.
figure out what works, right? And then go and basically automate away as much of this as possible. I think the difference now is like, rather than just like a linear automation, you can have these more dynamic automations that are, have some type of logic built into them. And that to me is all an agent is like, cool, like here's a process, and like what used to have some decision making that was a human, that decision making is now I'm trying to lean on AI as much as possible. And in reality, all this is like fucking vaporware though. Like I've talked to hundreds of people. I've seen like 2 or 3 things where I was like, yeah, it's maybe an agent. Maybe.
Yeah, a lot of
So
agents are automation with embedded AI.
100%.
And when you take the
100%.
agent word out of it, it's really a human in the loop that is being presented curated data.
Yes, 1,000%.
And
And
you
that can
can
still
say,
work.
"Yes, it's great. It's
Totally.
amazing. It really is, like,
Find me 10
revolutionary."
quotes, show me them. It's like, cool, I like 1 and 5. Like, okay, go make 1 and 5 into a graphic. And then
Yeah, exactly.
and
And then
and
I'll
that
take it to
works.
my team.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
dude, it's just streamlining a bunch of stuff that
Yeah. The
you
only
used
one
to have
I've
to
seen.
go.
Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you just have to use to go and, like, make an Excel, make a line chart, present it to your team, put it in
Totally.
your branded slide deck. It's just like, dude, it's just, like, works for work's sake,
Yep.
and now I'm just sending, like, Netlify links of, like, with a proposal and the ROI slider in there that I just built on Bolt, and it's just like, literally, like, we'll just send
100%.
proposals that are, like, butterfly caterpillar at netlify.app.
100%. 100%. We literally sent that to a client today. It's like it's a tool, like a calculator, of like, here, we want to embed this on your site so that we can go and like build a link flywheel for you. Cause it's like, we're going to get this to rank page 1, and then we know it will get more links naturally for you. Right. The the only thing I've seen, and I gotta jump in a second, but the only thing I've seen that has been like enough of an agent where I'm like, oh, this is something really interesting, is basically like these agents that are controlling LinkedIn accounts, or controlling like Twitter accounts. Like, they do the research for topics, they write unhinged takes, like controversial. Like, literally, the prompt I've been using is like going to Claude 3.7 Sonnet and like write a unhinged shit post that is controversial based off of this, I like whatever this provided idea that I researched from scraping Reddit, right?
Okay.
It writes that take, posts, schedules it and posts it. And then based off of the impression data, it's like, cool, this type of like content is performing better. Now go do more deep research based off of the best performers and come back and start that cycle over. That's the first version where I'm like, this is what a human used to do that is like entirely automatable. And I think if, we extend that out, that's where this starts to get super interesting really quickly. But
That's
anyway,
wild, dude. Well, this has been a blast, man.
dude, always a pleasure to host you. Jordan, if people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Just on X,
Awesome. We'll link it.
JRDNMIX.
Awesome. We'll link you, man. And thanks as always for coming on.
All right, bro. Have a good
We'll
day.
talk to you soon.
Peace.